Increasing your website traffic essentially gives you more chances and opportunities to make more sales on your products and services and anything else that you sell on your website. And today I want to tell you how I increased mine by 107% in the last 28 days. And that's simply by having a blog. Now, on a blog, that gives you blog posts that can organically bring traffic to your website each and every month. Now, blog posts, you can do them once a month, once a week, or however you feel is necessary for your website. But this is a sure way to consistently bring traffic to your website, especially if you don't have a large social media following. So one of the first things you want to do is first you got to have a blog, right? You got to start a blog and you have to use this organic free traffic to bring over to your website. So if you don't have a blog, I totally suggest you get one. I have several videos on the channel that can show you how to do that. I'll link some down in the description below for you. Now, once you have that blog, and let's say you've been doing the blog for a while, or even if you've been doing it for just a short amount of time, you still could do some of these strategies. But if you've had it for a longer time, this is an easy way to kind of boost that traffic and bring more people to your blog with the old content that you have, right? So that's what we're going to be doing here. We're going to be looking at our site, assessing our blog posts and everything that we've been doing on the blog, and we're going to use our existing content to bring more traffic. Now, how we're going to do that, the very first thing we're going to do is go over to the Google Search Console. In Google Search Console, you want to go into the search results and find the keywords that Google has identified your site as being an authority for. There is a section that will show you all of the keywords that Google has lumped your site together with. You want to take note of those keywords, write them down, see the different variations of them and how people are typing them into Google. You want to go and type them into Google for yourself and see what's coming up. So you want to just identify those keywords, write them down, make a list, do whatever you have to do to identify those keywords. There's even a section on the far right that will show you the number of impressions that each of those keywords get. So I want you to take note of that as well. Which one of those keywords are getting the majority of the impressions, right? So you want to make sure you're writing those down in order so that you can use them later to increase your chances of getting more people to your site. Now, once you've gone over to the Google Search Console and you have identified the keywords that your site is associated with, the next thing you're going to do is identify the top 10 blog posts that you have on your site that are doing the best, right? You can look in Google Analytics for this. I believe there's an area in Google Search Console where you can do this as well. So you want to identify those top 10 posts that are bringing the most traffic to your site, because this is showing you how Google is seeing your site, how they're categorizing you, what blog posts they're putting in front of people when they're doing those Google searches. Once you have identified those blog posts, you are going to go in and optimize those blog posts as best as possible. So now this is exactly what I did in order to increase my website traffic by 107% in 28 days, no social media included at all. So I identified those top 10 blog posts. I decided to start with the top 3 just to work slowly. You don't have to try to do all of this at one time or do it quickly, because you want to make sure that you're not messing up the traffic that you're currently getting on that blog post, but adding to it and making that blog post even more valuable and making it so that more people come to visit it. So you want to kind of take your time on each of these blog posts. But the first thing I would do is start with the one that's bringing you the most traffic. Now, I will say this, for the blog posts that are ranking on page 1. So if that blog post is in the top 10 results on Google, you might want to not change a lot in that blog post, because whatever you have done, it is getting you good results depending on the amount of the page views it's bringing you. However, you want to add to what's there without removing right? What already has you in the top 10 results. But if you're not in the top 10 results, say you're on page 2 or you're on page 3, you can, change some stuff around, make it better, and all that good stuff. So the very first thing that I did on my blog post is improve the SEO. If you don't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. And this is the way that Google takes the information from that blog post and ranks it on Google. So I looked at the SEO of that blog post to identify the things that I could do better to make this either rank higher or bring in more traffic from other keywords that you just found on Google Search Console. Those keywords are going to be just so perfect for you to bring in more traffic, because Google is already telling you these are the search terms that we are serving your blog posts up for. And so now these are the key terms that I need to ensure that's in my blog post in order to bring more traffic into the site. So you want to look at those keywords and make sure that the search engine optimization on that blog post, that those keywords are front and center, that you are using them throughout your post, and that you're doing everything that you can to improve the SEO of that blog post. That's going to look like making sure that the keyword is in your heading, making sure that you're using it in your intro throughout your blog post, everything that search engine optimization entails. Now, overall, SEO is a much more complicated process. It's not really complicated, but it's a more in-depth process. But if you can just start out with adding those keywords to your headings and throughout the blog post, and just making sure that you're using those keywords that Google is identifying your blog post for in that post, that will help you to increase the ranking of that blog post, essentially bringing in more traffic to that blog post and your website, right? So as long as you have everything intertwined and interconnected properly inside your blog post, if you're selling a product or a service, you want to make sure that you're mentioning it in that blog post. You can be doing affiliate marketing or whatever it is that you're doing. You want to make sure that blog post is directly related to whatever it is that you're selling or talking about on your website in general, and you give them a way to be able to support your business. Now, after upgrading the SEO and making sure that everything is working best as possible on that blog post for you, the next thing that you can do that also can help the SEO is improve the formatting of the post. So what does it look like? Is everything spaced out properly? Do you have enough photos in there? Is the font size big enough for people? So you want to, make sure that the formatting of the post is best as possible. I like to, make sure everything is spaced out good, that you have enough space in between the lines and everything is not jumbled together, because you can look in Google Search Console and it will tell you the number of people and how they're viewing your blog post and your website. And most of the people that are visiting my site are typically looking from their cell phone, right? And so you want to make sure that font is big enough and that it's spaced out enough that people can read the context of those blog posts appropriately, and they're not squinting and hurting their eyes trying to look at it. You want to make sure it's large enough, it's spaced out enough so that they're not getting annoyed trying to squeeze down and read on your stuff, right? If you have ads, make sure there's not too many that's obtrusive and makes people just want to click off of your site, because that defeats the purpose. Just make sure that your blog post is formatted properly. Enough pictures, that you're spacing things out. Make it scannable, right? People don't read every single word of a blog post. That's the thing. They may be looking for an answer, they may be looking information on something, but people are not going to sit there and read every single word. So I like to tell my clients and my students to make sure it's scannable, right? Make sure they can look through the post and still get good information if they simply scan it. So that just means, make sure you have your headings, set up properly. Make sure you have list format and number format and whatever you can do to make this thing look interesting when you're looking at it, and not just globs and globs of text. No one wants to sit there and read that. I promise you they're not going to sit there and read that. So do everything you can to make that piece of content still engaging. Next, if it's a blog post that you feel like could do great on video, add a video to that blog post. Or if you have a video that's related to that blog post, you can insert that video in there as well. This is also great for the SEO that we talked about. You want to either film a new video or add an existing video. That's going to help boost your blog posts up in the rankings, and also it will help people to be able to digest your content better. Because guess what? I may have found your blog post via a Google search, but then I go to the blog post and see that there's a video. I might watch the video instead because I'm a visual person, or I may just want to hear you tell it to me, right? And then essentially they could find, you know, your YouTube channel, because that's where you're going to be hosting that video, right? Because we know that having a YouTube channel connected with our blog also helps us with SEO and in Google search and everything like that. So they may find that one video, watch it, or either find your YouTube channel and now you got yourself a new subscriber. Okay, so if you can, you always want to implement a video into that blog post so that it does better for you in the SEO search rankings. Then you can add a content upgrade. Now, say for instance, this blog post that the person is looking at is a recipe on how to do beef stew in the slow cooker, right? You can add a content upgrade where you can offer them, say, 5 additional slow cooker recipes if they would just in exchange give you their email address. And then when they put their email address in, you're going to send them out additional recipes for the slow cooker, whatever those are. Put them together in a handy dandy PDF in Canva and then send it off to them, right? That's a content upgrade. That's something that someone will say, wow, I came here for this beef stew recipe and then I left with a recipe on how to do a soup, on how to do a casserole, on how to do mac and cheese, whatever. But they feel like, wow, I've gotten more from this content. And then in this instance, people share these blog posts a lot more with their friends and family members. They'll share them in their Facebook groups, and then Google will see, okay, people are sharing this post more often. Maybe we should send more traffic to them, right? And they see that people are staying on the page a lot longer. That is another signal to them that people are liking that blog post. So you want to do everything that you can in the form of a content upgrade to make them just feel like that blog post is that much more valuable and beneficial and shareable to their friends and family members. Now here's a bonus. Here's another thing that I also start doing on my blog, and I am starting to see the results here. This has nothing to do with Google, nothing to do with social media. However, it is a platform that you can start posting to bring more website traffic, and that's Pinterest. I started to pin at least once a day on Pinterest, and I am seeing my traffic to my website increase. I have absolutely kind of fallen in love with Pinterest. It literally is my new thing. It's my new platform that I'm using a lot and really seeing return on my time investment from Pinterest. So I will definitely recommend that you at least do one pin a day. There are several ways that you can do this. I do not use an outside platform to do this. I schedule all of my pins inside of the Pinterest app. They do have a scheduler and it works really well. I like to say schedule at least one pin a day. I am seeing really good returns on my time investment on Pinterest. They're coming up with so many new features, so many things that you can do. I'm absolutely loving Pinterest these days. So yeah, that's how I increased my website traffic 107% in the last 28 days. Now, if you don't have your blog set up and you still need help on doing that, check out this video right here. I go step by step, break it all the way down on how you can do that and get started really in the next 24 hours if you wanted to. I'll see you in the next video.